Senator Kim.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you to the two of you for coming on out here. Dr. Monarez, I wanted to just start with you. You were talking about how you were directed to fire career officials. I guess I just wanted to ask you, what was the plan? Who would have replaced them?
Yeah, part of what the Secretary told me in the discussion related to those career officials was a sequencing of firing the leadership, promoting their deputies. If the deputies did not do what I had wanted, I needed to fire them, promote the next group, and continue to do so until I got to an organization that was compliant with my demands.
So the plan was to literally just kind of keep firing until there was somebody in that position that was willing to go along with what Secretary Kennedy was asking. Is that right?
That is what he communicated to me, yes.
I guess I wanted to just ask you, are you aware if this type of practice and this kind of order is given to other parts of HHS, FDA, NIH, any other parts?
He had said, although I have no means to verify this, that others at FDA, NIH, and CMS were engaging in this practice.
I raised that, Mr. Chairman, I think, we were raising concerns about what's happening with regards to the CDC, but as mentioned, we're hearing potential allegations that, this type of action is being taken part in other parts of HHS, and I hope this committee can try to follow up on that. Dr. Monarez, you said something in your testimony that caught my attention, which is you said something to the effect of that your political staff had to approve of policies and personnel decisions that you were trying to make. Is that correct?
That is correct, and that was the email that has apparently now been made available through the Washington Post.
And so when you talked with Secretary Kennedy, he talked about wanting to have you fire. He also talked about, you talked about him ordering you to pre-approve decisions made by the ACIP. When Kennedy was asked about that last week, he said, quote, "No, I did not say that to her. I never had a private meeting with her. There were other witnesses that will say, I never said that." I guess I'm just asking you, who else was in these meetings with you?
So the meeting where that was first stated and the request, the demand made of me, included 5 other participants in addition to the Secretary. It included his deputy, the Deputy Secretary, his Chief of Staff, the Deputy
Will you
Chief...
please give names? I'm sorry.
Yes, sorry. The Deputy Secretary, Jim O'Neill, the Chief of Staff, Matt Buckham, the Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephanie Spear, a member of the General Counsel staff, Bob Foster, and a member of his council staff is Ken Callahan.
I think what really stands out to me is this question, if he's not listening to you, if he's not listening to CDC career staff and experts, the question is, who is Secretary Kennedy listening to about these important decisions that are before us? And not only just the idea of listening, but both of you have addressed this in so many different ways. I mean, Dr. Monarez, you talked about how they were, when you were talking to Secretary, he was basically telling you that the child vaccine schedule will change in September. Is that roughly right?
That is correct.
That's the idea that it was going to happen, not likely to happen in September.
Going to happen. And
Dr. Houry, you talked about this in so many ways, and I think the phrase that really stood out to me with your work was you said it was about pre-decided outcomes of votes. Is that correct? Is that what you were worried about?
Yes.
Because what we're seeing as well is this, we're seeing this over and over again where it feels like there's already a decision that's been made, and now we're trying to figure out how to twist the data to be able to meet that prediction or meet that assertion. Is that correct, Dr. Houry?
It is, and I think my concern is, President Trump issued the executive order on gold standard science, and I believe in that. We should have data that you can replicate, that you can understand, and we were put in positions to where I am concerned that the science coming out won't be gold standard science. David Geyer, who the senator or secretary testified, was a contractor, was brought to CDC, and I had the deputy policy chief of staff of HHS come meet with myself and the other 3 leaders who resigned, Drs. Jernigan, Daskalakis, and Layden, and for 2 days she sat with us and asked us to grant access to a data that has privacy and security concerns to this researcher.
No, I appreciate you raising that, and just what we've seen in terms of how they've talked about this with the VSD, a lot of concerns, and I think there's a lot more this committee needs to do to look into that. Thank you, and I yield back.